going on, everybody? My goodness, it's been a while. I think it's been like 2 weeks, I think. 2 weeks. Woo! That's a long time. That is a long time. That is a long time for me not to upload anything and not kind of explain anything to you guys. But I've been pretty busy. I've been doing a couple things, and yeah, that's kind of the reason why. And I'll kind of explain that in this video, but at the same time, answer your questions. I put a post on YouTube here about 3 weeks ago, and yeah, I am gonna try to answer all your questions in this video as I set up to make a couple more videos, because it's been a while. It's been a while since I've done this, so yeah, just bear with me. So one of the first questions I got asked was from Peter Greenwood from Australia. Hey Peter. And he asked, how often should you change your conga heads if you're doing regular gigs? And that's a pretty good question, but it really depends on the kind of head you're using and how well you're maintaining that conga head. Yeah, it really depends on that. And why I say that is because you can literally have a synthetic head and mess this synthetic head up. And this synthetic head can literally last you years and years of playing. I'm talking about years playing on this thing, but sometimes we don't maintain it, or we don't pay attention to maybe some slight cracking, or because we're tuning it way too often, whereas synthetic head is more like set it and forget it.
Just set it and forget it.
Or you can even have a head that came with the drum and it's so thin, sometimes we just completely, disregard it and don't untune it as often, and end up ripping, depending on, again, how you're maintaining the drum. Where it comes to real skins, you gotta be a little bit more careful. But let's say you have a thicker skin, something that's 2 millimeters. These type of skins, it takes a lot to be able to kind of tear through them or mess them up. But at the same time, if you're negligent, you're leaving it out in the heat, just there untuned and all crazy, this is not gonna last you. So again, it really depends how often you're maintaining your heads, because I'm telling you, you can get a synthetic head, just rip that thing the next day because you're just trying to crank it up like crazy and the plastic pops and you're just not being kind to the drum. But yeah, normally synthetic heads can last you a couple of years. I'm talking about 5-6 years if you are, again, taking care of your drums. But a regular rawhide, it depends. Like, if you're taking care of your drum heads and you're playing often, it can last you a couple of years. But because these type of heads, especially like rawhides, they take a while to break in. If you start hearing my congas sound better, it's because the skins are actually settling in, they're breaking in, and they're sounding a lot better. So that's because I'm playing them more often, that's because they're being used, but at the same time, I'm also taking crazy care of them. So yeah, it really depends on you. So the next question is from Mark Taz1, and he asked, why is it actually harder to play at a slower tempo than a fast tempo? That's a good question there, Mark. Really good question. This is a humongous softbox. It's kind of crazy. I don't get it. So I'm gonna try to answer it the best way that I can. And basically, naturally, we want to go at a speed that we're most comfortable at. We don't like to do things slow. That is just us by our natural way of being. We just want to go at a certain tempo. I'll ask you this. When was the last time that you walked very slow? Like, I'm talking about very slow. Yeah. Naturally, you just walk. It's at a speed and you just walk at that speed. It's in you. It's already in you. You're walking at a certain speed. And if you ever did try to walk very, very slow, you would realize how awkward it is and how sometimes you can even might lose your balance or anything like that. Or I'll ask the same question. When was the last time you actually ran as fast as you can? Talking about to the point where you can even lose your balance. Yeah, it gets kind of weird. We are by our natural form in a certain speed that we already feel comfortable in. So we walk at a certain speed, we run at a certain speed, we talk at a certain speed. That is just our natural form. So when we do things very, very, very slowly, it gets kind of awkward. And that's why we always recommend practicing very slow to take away and get rid of that awkwardness. And I'll also like to ask, have you ever seen like a race where it's speed walking? Have you ever seen a race like that? Speed walking? It's the most creative thing I've ever seen. It's crazy. People have a little like technique. It's like they're all dancing salsa, trying to walk as fast as they can. And it's kind of cool because there's an actual technique to do that. And there's rules that if you step a certain way, then it qualifies it as running. So again, when you practice things very slowly, you end up discovering different things and different ways of doing those rhythms or patterns or rudiments. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to do, and I always like to compare it like a baseball player. A lot of people can hit at a certain speed, at a certain fastball, but when somebody throws up a changeup and it goes very slow, you kind of catch them off guard, and what they're able to hit on a fastball, and it's confusing them when they get a changeup.
Between the speed of the fastball and the changeup, what does that do to the hitter? Well, it makes him late on one, it makes him early on the other one. That's nasty.
It's kind of crazy. So that's why it gets apart, because it's not something that we are normally accustomed to. We don't walk like sloths, we don't talk like sloths, we don't move like turtles. That's not us. So when we actually have to slow down different from what we are naturally doing, that's when it gets uncomfortable. The next question is from James Ibarra, and he asks, can I talk about kind of taking care of the congas and tuning? Tuning, I always recommend, if you're using rawhide heads, please untune these babies after you play. Just untune them. Untune them because you got to take care of them, man. So untune them, not as low as crazy where like the lugs get crazy loose, but untune them enough where they don't sound as good, you know? And then tune them up whenever you are gonna play, and then tune them down when you're not playing. If you're using synthetics, once you tune them, just leave them alone, you know, unless you're trying to go for another sound and tuning up or tuning down. That's the only time. But just leave them alone. Set it and forget it, like I said.
Just set it and forget it.
But maintaining, you got to keep them moisturized. Keep them in a room that it's not going to change all the time, you know, not in a very humid place. If you're going to keep them in a room like that, your drums may not last as long, or at least the heads. But if you keep them maintained, if you keep them lotionized and moisturized and all this eyes, if you take care of them, I'm telling you, you're gonna be able to do that. So what I always do, I leave them out like this. If it gets a little bit too hot in here, I try to pull them in a nice colder environment, cooler, I would say. But I try not to have them, you know, hot, because then it gets kind of crazy. The wood can bend and all this craziness. So you want to take care of your heads and your drums and your instruments and your hands and everything. You want to take care of everything. I had to come and make myself some coffee. Yeah, I'm a coffee lover, guys. But Fernando Colon asked me if I had a top five in players, in conga players, who would they be? This is tough. This is really tough. This is tough. Nobody's ever asked me that. My top five. Okay, let me think. This is kind of tough because, man, if you just think about it, if I were just to name five right now, if I were to name Carlos Patato Valdez, Cándido Camero, Mongo Santamaria, Rey Barreto, and Tata Wines, literally, those are the five people right there. Those are the five people that really kind of paved the way and did all this. And, you know, think about even Armando Peraza and Chano Pozo. Literally, there are so many players that I can put on this list that, man, if you don't put him in your top 5, people will think, you know, sacrilegious and you're not a player or anything like that. But yeah, so I'll do 2 top 5 lists. And what I mean by these 2, first is like people that I believe I'm highly influenced from, and whom I constantly just have to refer back to get inspired and to kind of feel something more than just music, you know, and just I want some sort of feeling or inspiration to kind of grab on a hold to learn something. So I'll do the first 5, and then the second top 5 is people whom I just admire and love their style and love their uniqueness, and might not put them amongst like the super greats, you know, my Mount Rushmore, but man, those are people that you just are in awe every time you play. So my first top 5 list. Yeah, my first top 5 list. I would put, and I would have to always put him at number 1. So this is Giovanni Hidalgo. Giovanni Hidalgo, 1, because he was the person that literally inspired me to play congas, especially, and he's one that I believe has set the bar in regards to excellence, in regards to respect, in regards to trying to grasp different styles and different flavors and different things, and kind of push the boundary and like made his gift and his playing ability limitless. So you could put him in any genre and he's gonna sound great. And that's kind of what I always try to pursue to become, to be someone that's a very overall conga player or percussionist in general. So yeah, Giovanni number 1. Number 2, I would put as Pedrito Martinez. Why? Because he changed the game. He completely just changed the game. Everything's different. Everything's very unique. His playing style may not reflect mine whatsoever, but whenever I listen to him, I have to like kind of pause and think, like, what is he thinking? What is he doing? Why did he do that right there? And that's kind of amazing to me, to be able to do that now in this day and age, to kind of stand out from a lot of people that ended up starting to sound the same. You know, that's where it's get kind of crazy. Number 3 is Paoli Mejias. Paoli Mejias to me is one of the most unique conga players in my time that I was able to see growing up. Someone that I've met too, and really met, you know, kind of had a great conversation, someone that I still have a good relationship with, and it's crazy, man, how humble he is at his level. I mean, he's playing with Santana now, and if you notice, the sound of the band is completely different because of his style. So his unique style, his unique approach, his durability and endurance, man, is crazy. But yeah, so Paoli Mejias. And then number 4, I would put Ray Barreto, because I think I probably cope a lot with him with regards to his American kind of approach to Latin music. So it's a New Eurekan kind of thing where he kind of approached it that way, and it's lived in an era where a lot of different genres are kind of emerging, and he kind of just made his own way. And yeah, so Barreto's one that I will always try to, like, man, this guy is crazy. And then Mongo Santamaria. Mongo Santamaria is somebody that I don't think a lot of people give a lot of appreciation to and give a lot of respect to, because his style was different. You know, his style is not maybe accustomed to what today's day and age, you know, rudiments and kind of technique way of approaching things is very, you know, not the same now. You know, if you to see somebody play like Mongo today, you're probably like, oh, that person is playing sloppy and nasty and all this. But if you take a second and you close your eyes and you listen to Mongo's feel and Mongo's approach to music, yeah, all I would have to do is present to you Afro Blue and present to you Sofrito and present to you all this secret sauce and spices that he had. And it's crazy because he was one of those people that just was full of feel when he played. So yeah, those 5 right there: Giovanni, Pedrito, Paoli, Barreto, and Mongo. That's my top 5 for the people always have to go and grab inspiration from. But yeah, my other top 5. Yeah, so this one I probably won't explain as much, but I would put, let's say, number 1 as Eliel Lasso. Man, my goodness, Eliel Lasso. Eliel Lasso, wow, like his style is so smooth and effortless, man. It's just crazy how much like technique he has in flow and feel and independence, man. Independence, like my goodness. But yeah, Eliel Lasso, if you haven't heard of him, yeah, I would put him in my second top 5 list. Right behind him, I would probably put Yaroldi Abreu. He plays with Chucho Valdez, and he's just a beast, a monster. But yeah, then man, I wish I would meet or have had a chance to meet him. But Jerry Gonzalez, man, his style is unique. It's his. It's all about feel. Again, another person that was able to kind of implement a different approach to playing in Latin jazz, man. So that's somebody I truly kind of just wish that I could have been able to witness and see. Number 4, I would put as Ralph McDonald. Yeah, Ralph McDonald, because Ralph McDonald, he is so, like, I don't think, like, I just think he's underappreciated, man. He does so much, or has done so much, you know, and has done so much for music and hits after hits and a lot of style. To be able to incorporate percussion into that, it's just beautiful to be able to grow up listening to his music and things like that. So yeah, Ralph McDonald, number 4. And number 5, I would put as Jafet Murguia, and I think, I don't know if you have seen, but he also plays a lot with Daniel Diaz. But yeah, Jafet's style is unbelievable. I'm a fanboy when I see him play, when I see his techniques. He does a lot of things, man. He's from Puerto Rico and does a lot of crazy things playing congas, man. It's just crazy. Every time I see him, like, man, this guy, it's like unbelievable, man. But there are a lot of people that are my age that I consider my peers that I am just huge fans of, man. I will learn so much from what they do, you know. Unlike, yes, Jafet, there's also Daniel Diaz, there's Marcos Torres, Marcos Lopez, Paulo from Conga Chops, man, Fabio from Colombia. There's just so many people that I look up to that are my age that are just crazy musicians, man. Crazy musicians that I'm just like in awe of their style. And you know, you can't, you know, Eddie Montalvo. I mean, man, I am a huge fan of a lot of people and have much respect for a lot of conga players. So if I didn't mention them, don't think I'm like, they're not good. No, it's just a lot of things that I will look to get inspired from, or music that they make or create that makes me kind of like, wow, this is crazy. That's why I do it, or that's why I would put them on my list. But man, there's a lot of people that we don't mention that we have to give a lot of credit to, and a lot of credit is due. Like, I was struggling with my top 5, you know, when it comes to Miguel Angel Diaz, because I would have put him like a little bit before Mongo or before Rey Barreto. But it's like, I think about it, I'm like, you know, honestly, who do I listen to the most? And even in this list, like, who do I listen to the most? And Miguel Angel Diaz, again, is somebody that, I mean, I would put there with Candido, Tata, and Patato, like how they were able to approach different ways of playing. But, you know, if I'm being honest with myself and the type of music that I listen to and what I grab inspiration from, yeah, I wouldn't change my list. But yeah, Miguel Angel Diaz, I don't know. Might have to do it. I don't know. Yeah, let me keep on setting up. So, Ana Lavalle asked, I wanted to know, do you keep a second job while you do the musician thing? What else do you do, and how do you manage your time? We're getting kind of personal here, Ana. I'm just joking with you. Thank you for asking that question. Very, very, very good question, because a lot of you ask. First things first, if somebody has, let's say, a second job, or a 9-to-5, or a regular job, that does not diminish them from them being a professional musician or should diminish their qualities or what qualifies them to be called a musician. Some people just want to live a specific lifestyle, or maybe based on where they're from or the area that they're in, maybe not that much work or is not as frequent. So some people need to have another source of income to be able to do their job. And that's kind of crazy because that's life. That's how it is. Being a musician isn't like it was back in the 70s or 80s or early 90s or back in the 50s and 60s, where you can truly live off music alone. Some people, depending on where they live, don't get as many gigs as possible. So that's the first thing. Please don't hate on somebody just because they do have a regular job and maybe at night they gig and do their music thing and do their vibes and do all this thing. That's just how it is. Depends on how you want to live or how you choose to live. Not everybody gets to become a touring musician or even wants to be a touring musician. That's just the truth. That's just the fact that a lot of people don't want to live that kind of lifestyle but enjoy playing music. In my case, I try to monetize as much as possible from my playing ability. So yes, a big source of the money I make from playing congas or percussion in general are gigs. Of course, this year after March, that was gone, so that kind of sucked. But yeah, big source of the income that I made from making music is from actually doing live performances. But aside from that, I do teach and I do some lessons and some virtual lessons, and obviously the face-to-face lessons had to stop, so they all became virtual, and I just try to limit that as much as possible because it could get overwhelming. And I also do something that sometimes it could take a while, and I offer this to some people, that maybe I cannot give you a personal lesson, but if you show me a video of you playing a tumbao or doing a solo or playing a specific rhythm, I can analyze that video, break it down, and then send you a video with a couple of lessons personalized to you based on your playing style and your playing ability. And I try to cater a video specifically for you. If you're interested in that, comment down below and I'll tell you where to email me and I'll tell you the details on that. But that's something that I do as well, aside from everything else. And as well, I do make YouTube videos, and I've been doing this for almost 3 years now, and I do monetize my videos and I get paid from YouTube. And that's not, coming out of your pocket. That's basically because I have advertisements playing in my videos. So that's another source of income that I get, as well as I have affiliate marketing links down in the description below. So I get paid via Amazon as well. So if you click on the link and you buy something, boom, I get money that way. But again, that's not coming as extra on your part. You're not gonna pay extra because you're choosing that link. It's more of a kickback or a commission because you chose that link. Or if you even go to Amazon and buy something else through that link, I get something as well. So that's just another source of income that I get because of doing this Conga thing and this YouTube thing. So aside from that, I am also a photographer and videographer. I get paid to do photography and videography. That's something that I've been doing for almost 4 years now. Me and my friend Stephanie have kind of a company called InEarz Visual Graphics that basically we get hired to do weddings, birthdays, events, do flyers, all that, and we've been doing that for a while now. So that's again another source of income, and that's kind of the reason why I haven't been uploading, because the last 2 months we have been busy. And it's crazy because a lot of people are still kind of doing their weddings and they're still doing birthdays and doing all this stuff, and they're making it micro, with the guidelines and everything that's going on right now, social distancing and all that. People are still trying to do these events, and I'm telling you, it's like for the last almost 2 months, every weekend we had something. And that's kind of great because I've been able to kind of balance off what gigs I lost in regards to music. But before, how we would do it is basically I would probably shoot something in the morning during, you know, wedding season, and then actually play for weddings in the night or anything like that. So how I manage that time is my calendars. It's crazy. I actually really try to plan everything off months and months and months in advance. And sometimes I do get called for a wedding event or a birthday or something in regards to photography and videography, also on the same day to go play somewhere. So it's literally first come first serve. Whoever contacted me first is who I put that priority for that day. And it's kind of funny, I think it was just October 3rd, Tony Craddock Jr. had an event and was asked to go play in New Jersey for an outdoors event that they had in New Jersey. He had asked me to go, and of course I was already booked for a quince. If you don't know what a quince is, it's basically a sweet 16 but for the Hispanic culture at the age of 15. Kind of crazy. But yeah, I literally had the ability to go play, but I already had booked to go shoot photography and videography for a quince. So it's kind of crazy how you try to balance that with music, but it's not because I need one over the other. Literally, I enjoy both. I truly enjoy doing both. It's something that I've enjoyed. I love it. I love that creative ability to just go out and capture moments and kind of tell a story in a video or tell a story via a photo. And it's nice, man. I love it. I truly enjoy it. But how I manage that time is literally my calendar, communicating with my wife, and making sure I always have time for my family. So that's really important for me, especially being a father, being a husband, is having time to spend with them and having time to do things with them. And that's probably like the most important thing above all. So yeah, I am a musician, I am a photographer and videographer. I get paid for both, and I've been trying to make it work. Of course, because of everything, things have impacted us, but at the same time, I am blessed. I haven't gone hungry. I haven't been able to not pay my bills. I've literally been able to make it through some way or the other, and it's partially because of you guys. So I am super grateful for this platform. You don't understand how grateful I am, because I've been given a lot of other opportunities to make income because of this. So thank you again, and great question, Anna. So yeah, let me get this going because my son is here. He's watching TV, and you already know how he's gonna be. So let me finish and knock out these questions. It's gonna be really quick because now these are the questions that people ask for certain things in regards to me playing. So yeah, so David Palma asked, darker skins versus bleach skins, what's the difference? Honestly, it's just appearance. Yes, there is slight difference in regards to like the tone. I'm talking about the slightest thing. It's a little bit. Sorry about that. As I was saying, it's just a slight difference. Maybe I would say the darker skins are a little bit warmer, but again, it's more aesthetic. It's not that much of a difference. ViceNet asked, I have a question on how to play comparsa. Not sure if that's what it's called, but it's like fast rumba that you do with slaps and 2 opens and then an open on the tumba. I think you're talking about this one. You're talking about that one. I think I will definitely break that down. That is a crazy pattern. Yeah, you gotta love that pattern. So I had a couple people ask in regards to how to incorporate congas to blues and to jazz, and my best suggestion, especially if you're first starting out on that, is to really try to incorporate the tumbao. Not make it as much as like a salsa-ish type of feel, but really try to chop it up and walk it. So rather than doing something like this, really try to break it down to something like this. Something like that, a little bit more choppy, a little bit more, I would say, not as smooth. I wouldn't put it in the smooth category, but let's say if you're playing some jazz, you know, that's like probably the best way to try to get in there, and eventually you start to kind of get the feel, a little bit more concept, and then adding a little bit more melody with a second drum. DJ Chet Cobra asks, are we going to see some more videos for bongo? Yes, most definitely. I have the bongos here. Something happened, and I'll explain that in a future video why I haven't done a lot of bongo videos. And yeah, so I am definitely going to do a lot more of that. I think it's pronounced skinky. Herrick and all percussionists, I don't get how percussionists tend to change the groove in every section of the song to make percussion interesting and not repetitive. What is on your mind when you arrange your sections? I am asking from a producer beat making perspective. Now that's a very interesting question. Now you shouldn't constantly change. You shouldn't constantly change. There should be some sort of foundation. But yes, there are moments in a section where, let's say, for example, just your basic salsa song, you have a part where you're just playing a basic tumbao. Then when you would say the chorus would come, you're playing a little bit, now adding the second drum. And then let's say there is a mambo section or a part where it's a lot more lively, maybe more horns, maybe there's somebody soloing in regards to the timbales or something. Like when it gets to that part, people tend to even be a little bit more aggressive on that part. So you get this feel because, again, you're trying to incorporate a little bit more tension, a little bit more I would say climax to a song, so it doesn't sound just and that sounds great, but sometimes, you know, let's say you're doing that and it's a mambo section. And you're just adding, and then basically let's say the song ends back to maybe like a verse or an A format. Again, you're trying to build that tension. So that's where a lot of percussionists try to change the groove or feel a little bit. But it shouldn't be out of the context. It shouldn't be something out of the ordinary. I kind of made fun of that in my type of conga players video where somebody's just going everywhere. It should never be like that. It should literally be some sort of structure, but at the same time, you know, the musician is allowed at times to be a little bit creative, but again, it's in its boundaries. Simon asks, if you only had one conga and had to come up with a daily practice routine, how would that look like? Honestly, if I had one conga, just one conga, and to try to come up with a daily practice routine, I mean, I have weekday workouts on congas, and part of it is to incorporate just using one drum. But what I would honestly do is, if it's a daily type of thing and I only have one drum, is I would try to explore the tumbao and different variations of tumbao and try to do that all on one drum, and at then the same time try to incorporate some sort of feel with some rudiments in there and maybe a little bit of soloing while still kind of using the basis of a tumbao. For example, Yeah, something crazy like that. I would literally do that every single day if I only had one drum and I needed to kind of practice and get certain things done. I think if those type of things, you could see I'm really using both of my hands to make everything happen. I'm trying to tell you guys, you gotta love it. And the last question is from AW Squirrel Tiffin. How much hair product does that require? And yeah, I actually get this question a lot in regards to my hair. I don't do much to it. Honestly, I just put matte clay pomade and yeah, just hope it stays in place. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does in the video, but yeah, that's kind of basically it. And as well, I read there's a lot of people that submitted things that weren't questions but just well wishes, man, from all over the world, and I'm grateful, man, seriously grateful for all those kind wishes, and I'm very grateful for your patience and for your understanding and for really, I would say, investing time to learn the things that I try to show and try to break down to its simplest form for just anybody to try to figure it out. So I am truly grateful for this audience, for this platform, man, and I hope I didn't bore you with answering all these questions, because I know some people were afraid to ask and some people were curious. And again, I'll try to break down certain things very soon. I have a lot of things going on, as you guys saw. I have a lot of videos aside from this to edit, and yeah, it's beautiful. Love it, love what I'm doing, man, and I'm loving that, you know, this community just keeps on growing, and I absolutely am grateful for each and every one of you. But all right, y'all already know what to do. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.